for an extra boost of confidence for the upcoming school year. My goodness, that feels real. To keep calm and confident, to have a calm and loving energy for my family, and looking for more tips and strategies to handle my life. So I think we all said what we want to feel because of the first things we listed, which is our stress, and that how we feel overwhelmed and how we feel confused. The good news is you're not alone. I hope everybody can see we're all kind of in this craziness together. I mean, it is topsy-turvy. No one knows what's really going on. Is it a conspiracy? Is it real? Is it affecting? Is it not affecting? How's it affecting my child? So for me, I'll tell you, I have a 5-year-old who's starting in kindergarten this year. I have battled in and out of him going to school with a face mask, because in Utah, we still get to go to school, which is great-ish. That's one thing I hope we get to talk about, Amber, because Amber's really going to address some of our options. But for me, I found myself being really afraid. And I was like worried, like, is he gonna know what to do when other kids are around? Is he gonna just sit and fight against the teacher about having it on all day? Is he gonna be sad? What if everyone can't see his smile? Like, is he gonna be nice to other kids? Are they gonna be nice to him? Because, you know, you can't see each other's faces. Like, how is this gonna emotionally affect my child? I had to stop and realize that my emotions he was going to mirror. Okay, and that's one of the most important things for us to remember, that it is by having some self-awareness about how we feel, we can set a new idea and a new standard for our children, because they absolutely are going to mirror you as their mother. So if I'm saying, oh, I'm just so worried, even if their little ears are in the background, or you're talking to your husband or your significant other, you're talking to your mom or you're talking to your friend on the phone, and you're stressing these fears or worries or uncertainties, your child will mirror you. So what you want to do is take a breath, get really clear on the confidence you want your child to have at school, and start feeling that confidence from within you first. Now, what something that might look like is, okay, is he going to have any friends? Of course he's going to have friends. He's a happy kid. Is he going to feel sad at school because he has a mask on? No, he doesn't know any different. This is his first year. He has no clue. He has no idea what is different. He doesn't even know. So I'm putting my stress or ideas on him. Okay, he's going to be fine. Well, what if he doesn't like her? What if he doesn't like the teacher? Just sit and think, okay, he is going to be great. I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to tell him, if your mask gets too hot, do this. If you want to, so he can feel confident when he has those triggers to have an outcome. So remember, your kids are mirroring whatever you think and how you feel. Someone said setting an energy, a loving energy for my family. How you feel is the most important, because that speaks so much louder than the words that you're saying. Okay? And by the way, your kids go to school and repeat everything that you say. Or, this is so stressful. This is so stressful. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Imagine your kids that are 9 and 10, which a lot of us have, going, this is so stressful and I don't know what I'm doing. This is so stressful, I don't know what I'm doing. If you look on the right-hand side, one of the main things that everyone said was confidence. So how can you show up in confidence and then put that with your kid? What I've seen so many moms, including myself, is be like, you got this, you can do this. And then I'm like, oh, I don't even know what I'm doing. 2 seconds later. Well, I'll tell you what, they believe that more than the air I'm feeding them, because of the energy behind it. So one of the things we're going to talk about is setting your intention for the day, like we did with our meeting or our workshop. Take a deep breath and choose how you respond to the emotion you're feeling. That's one of your biggest tips. So as you start to feel stressed, and if you need to excuse yourself from your kids, do it. Mommy just needs a minute. I'm going to go sit over here. Or actually, what I started doing is my 9-year-old is I grabbed her and I said, okay, let's breathe through this until we can feel a little bit more confident. What? Just grab her hands. You can't see my hands. They were down here. I grab her hands and I'll go, okay, let's breathe. Let's come back out. Okay, let's see how we feel. Do we feel better? Do we feel more confident? And just talk about it. bring it up with them. Start saying these emotions that you're working through and work through with them. Like, I know this can feel this way, or don't even say that because maybe they don't know, right? If you need to say that one to yourself, or if you say, how are you feeling? Okay, let's talk about it. In fact, Amber and I were talking a minute ago about, well, what do you think? Well, what do you think? What do you think? And that's kind of our common language. When we're talking about self-awareness and emotional intelligence and being in touch with your emotion, start using the words, well, how does that feel? Okay, so when you're talking to your kids, instead of like, oh, tell me about your day, how does it feel? That starts to give them permission to have an open dialogue that their feelings and how they're addressing this and what they're feeling matters. The last thing I wanted to say, and then we can just move on, is allow yourself to feel. Again, that kind of goes in line with what we were just saying, but asking yourself, how do I feel, is the most important thing. And then let those emotions move through you and try on new emotions than stress. So I'll just tell a quick story, Amber, and then we'll move on because I know that we have a lot to talk about and I could talk about this forever. But last year I went through, and I would consider myself a pretty self-aware person, right? I'm a company about it. Like, I know what I'm doing. I got this. I could not figure out some disconnect inside of me. I just was off and I could not figure it out. And I'd sit and I'd write and I'd ask myself. So I went and did our technology assessment because it's a little bit of a fast track cheating kind of to see what's in your vibration by doing this assessment. So I went and took it, and the biggest one for me was lonely. I have 4 kids, I am married, I have 15 people I work with. How could I possibly be lonely, right? Well, I just started sobbing. I just sat at my kitchen desk and I just sobbed because it felt so real when it said lonely. So I went and I looked at some of this lonely and just kind of took myself down this road. And I realized that when I get confused, or when I do get stressed, or when I get a little bit fearful, I disengage because I don't feel authentic in my own truth. So I just disengage. I stop reaching out to people. I stop communicating to people, and therefore isolates me. And being an extrovert, I start to feel lonely and by myself. Well, I didn't realize how those emotions were causing me to take myself away from people and how distant I felt and lonely by myself. It took me 6 months, but the best thing I did was say, okay, it's here. And what is it here to teach me? And what do I want to learn from this? And it really helped me shift in without judgment, because I will tell you, in full vulnerability, the first thing I wanted to do was judge my loneliness. Say it's not real, and people like me aren't lonely. I mean, I could have done, all right, George, just sit with it, right? You start judging it like you shouldn't be feeling that way, where instead I just sat with it and I let it move through me. So last piece of advice on being self-aware of how you're feeling, and then take that and how you set the standard for your family, is ask yourself, how do I feel about that? And really sit with it. Listen to your body. Listen to your internal dialogue and say, how do I feel about it? And then when you move from your thinking into your feeling, and then move from that space, then you're in alignment with making these decisions. So again, how do I feel about it? And I'm going to let it sit and move through me, okay, in a healthy way. And how to let it move through you is give it space to be felt. I'll just tell you one more quick little thing. Emotions are like little kids, okay? My little Riggs, when he was 4, I'd walk in the door and he would just be like, Mom, 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 Mom. And he would not leave me alone until I would sit down and I just say, hi, sweetheart, I see you and I hear you, I'm here. And I give him a big hug, and then I put him back down and we'd run away. So just remember, your emotions are the same way. They're just gonna keep beating at you and just staying with you until you just pick it up, give it a warm hug. I see you, what do you need? How can I help you? And then let it go, move through your body. So that's just my 2 cents on some of these emotions. And again, if you have any more questions or things on the side, I could talk about this forever, but I won't. So Amber, Take it away.
Thank you so much, Kristi. Okay, so one of the reasons we spent so much time talking about this, and we both feel it's so important. I mean, Kristi runs three companies and has 4 children. And I have 4 and I'm starting my company. So we realize really, really, really clearly how important becoming self-aware and knowing how to manage that and work through it affects everything else you do, like from how you're sleeping, how you're eating, your digestive system, your relationships with your friends, your ability to communicate, your memory, your concentration, like everything. So even though this is specifically supposed to be about understanding how we can really help you to balance work and school and home and choices and family, this really is a key point in that. Like this, we don't want you to gloss over it, because if you are not taking care of yourself, it doesn't matter how many tools and tips and practical like hacks we give you, it's not going to be worth shit if you are not taking care of yourself. Sorry, I had to say it.
I love it. And I'm just going to remind everybody one thing, because you really brought up home. It's about being in alignment with yourself. Okay. That's truly about, a lot of us get caught in that think, do, and you're just like thinking and acting, and you're just busy and running around like crazy. And you're like, why am I so exhausted? And why I am not happy. I am not okay. I'm not sexual at night with my husband. I'm too tired to go to the gym. I feel like I am falling apart, and I don't feel like it's safe to call and tell anyone that I am not okay. So we just run around and we are exhausted and we are tired and we can't think straight anymore. So what we are asking is just pause and get in alignment with yourself. So, okay, I'm thinking about this thing, and Amber's going to teach us about decision making, but start asking yourself, how am I feeling? That is the greatest question. And then when your thoughts and your feelings are in alignment, then you move them that space, you will begin to get the results you're desiring and that you're looking for, because they have to come, because it's in line with you. So what you put out is what you could get back.
That's beautiful. Okay, so if everybody can grab a piece of paper, if you were able to print out the worksheets, if not, we'll get them to you at the close of this. But either way, grab a piece of paper and a pen. And specifically, so Kristi just said, you know, how am I feeling now? The next question after that that's obvious is, how do I want to feel? How do I want to feel? And then we're going to talk about ways that you know you can get there. So if you really, more than anything, are wanting to feel calm, you're wanting to feel clear, you're wanting to feel confident, write down a couple of those words as whatever is appealing to you right now that you really want to feel. Maybe it's excited, maybe it's energized, maybe it's peaceful. So whatever those words are, pick 2 or 3 that you really want to focus on. And I'm going to kind of start in the middle of the worksheet since we're talking about emotional well-being. So the question is, for my emotional well-being, I need these 3 things. So in order to feel peaceful, in order to feel calm, in order to feel confident, whatever those things that were on your list, what is it that you know that's most likely to get you there? So here are some examples. Maybe it's getting out for a walk first thing in the morning. Maybe it's having a cup of coffee in a quiet place, even if it means having to hide in your shower. We talk a lot, Kristi and I talk a lot about stuff you could do in the shower, because sometimes it's the only place. Maybe it's listening to music that you love for 20 minutes. What are the things that you know are most likely to bring you those 3 or 4 or 2 real feelings, those emotional states that you're searching for? And what are your hacks? Like, what are your go-to things? So it could be music, it could be crafting, it could be a phone call with a really good friend, be walking in nature, it could be a meditation or journaling. So write down those things, and frankly, as many as you can think of that you know are your go-to ways to get to those feelings. And then below those, I'm going to have you write the 3 things that you know you need to avoid. So obviously there's lots of stuff that we're going to have to keep doing and being around that are annoying or frustrating. there's some things that you're not going to be able to delegate away, which I'm going to talk about later in the tips. But there are some things that you know are triggers for you. So maybe it's social media, you know, maybe it's a specific, like reading a specific news or having the news on in the background, or maybe it's, you know, scrolling Instagram at night. You know, you already know what is not serving you, that you're doing or you're tempted to do, or you do sometimes, or you just do automatically out of habit, but you know it's not serving you. Maybe it's like binge eating ice cream once everybody goes to bed because you're just like, I deserve some sort of reward for surviving today. But then you feel like crap afterwards, like physically and emotionally. So what is it that you know that you're doing that's just not serving you? So jot down a couple of those things too. And this is not to beat yourself up. This is to give you a tool. This is to serve that self-awareness so that you can manage yourself better. And also when you're modeling for everybody around you how you're taking care of your own needs, then you can also articulate, like, actually, you know what? I'm going to go for a walk this morning because I know I'm going to be so much more calm and patient and focused once I do. So are you guys all good here? I'll be back in 15 minutes. And you articulate why you're doing it. That's huge.
You know, Amber, I actually had one of my kids said, Mom, I think you need to go meditate. I was like, you're right. I'm going to excuse myself before I beat you all.
It's true. And they start, yeah.
I really don't, but sometimes I want to.
They start throwing it back at you, but it's actually good advice. So then you take it. Okay, so if you didn't get to finish those, please come back to those later because I think that they will be useful. Then what I want you to do is pick one kid. Whoever came into your mind first, that's the one you got to go with, okay? So write down their name. And I want you to write the 3 things that you know this kid needs to feel successful. Okay, not necessarily just academically. It could be anything, because obviously, like if you know that there's a kid, and I'll give some examples. But so, for instance, for one of mine, I know that he really needs to eat every 3 hours minimum. You know, maybe every 2.5. He needs more sleep than he was getting before, so we just like pushed bedtime back because it had been creeping later, which I'm guessing is happening in a lot of your houses right now. And he needs structure. Now we're a family, we're very loosey-goosey. Everybody is very like independent. And so because of that, like we don't have a lot of structure. That doesn't work as well for him. He survives, he's okay, but it's not his comfort, like it's not in his comfort zone. So we created a structure just for him that he can follow. And I can tell that the anxiety level has gone down. So, and then you were gonna name one, your 9-year-old.
I do. I have a 9-year-old daughter who, of all of my kids, she's the one that has a little bit of self-talk that sometimes is not great. So we have the most amazing routine that I do her hair in the morning and we do mirror work. I don't know if any of you know what that is, but I have her look in her eyes and find herself and then remember who she is and just tell her every day, she needs you. Please be kind to her. Please say nice things that make her feel happy today. And she will sit and look in the mirror and it's the most amazing thing. So if you have any little empaths in of your children, that mirror work and that reminder, and then every time she does say something, I'll say, oh, honey, can you be kinder to yourself? In just a really nice way. And then that really helps her reframe at a very young age.
I love that. I love that. So for each one of your children, you're going to write down the 3 things that you know they need to feel successful. So it could be very academic. They need a lot of whatever it is. Or it could be food. It could be outside time. It could be fresh air. It could be more alone time. It could be less alone time. Maybe they're just scooting off into their room any chance they get, and they're separating themselves from the family, and that that's not serving them. That on a gut level. The other thing I would say that happens with homeschool or when you have kids home more often is you really know your kids best. So A, go with your gut, and B, you can always change. You can always shift things when they're not working at any time. Like, you're the boss. So if like the 10 o'clock bedtime is just not working and you have a feeling people need more sleep, then you knock it up, you knock it earlier, or you let people sleep in later and see how it works. If it's not working, then you change something else. Like, I feel like when we get used to these whole year, school years, there's this commitment, like I have to make all the decisions right now and I can't change them for at least a year. And that's daunting. Like, that's really overwhelming. And so right now I would just say, let's give ourselves permission to listen to our guts and then to change it if something's not working. Okay, so for each one of your kids, I want you to write down what 3 things you think really serve them and what 3 things adds to their difficulty, adds to their challenges or frustrations. And sometimes it might just be the opposite side of the same coin, but it might just sometimes asking it in a different way. Like, if you know one of your triggers is, we had talked about, dishes in the sink before bedtime. Or like, for me, it's the count. I can't fight with the dishes in the sink, but to me, as long as the counters around the sink are clear, I'm good. I'm good to go. And then in my mind, I know there's like at least 10 hours where they're totally clean. That'd be the only 10 hours ever, right? So for yourself, you have the 3 things that will help you to feel the things that you wrote down that you want to feel. And then the 3 things that you want to avoid. And then for each child, let's write that too. And what this is going to do, the reason this is important is that when you get that offer about a pod, or you get that offer about, a sports team, that's going to be meeting, or whatever sports team. Obviously, my kids don't do a lot of sports, a soccer, that you can come back to this and say, okay, is this one of the 3 things that is going to serve my kid and serve me? Or is this going to be one of the things that I need to avoid? Like, maybe right now it's too stressful for me to be surrounded by lots of other groups that are not in my like kind of quarantine of people that I've been around. Then, okay, this is not on my list. It sounds lovely and I'm so honored that they invited me, but you know what? My answer is no, because that's going to cause more stress than it's going to solve for me right now. And we're all in a state, I think, where we really need to allow ourselves permission to put our emotional health first, right? We have enough other things, enough variables that we can't control right now. So let's give ourselves the best fuel for our emotional well-being that we can.
Can we say something right there? This was hard for me. What you just said was really hard for me. So here's a hack to tell people, no, I don't want to do that. So what I had to do is I had to write it down to where it just flowed off my tongue. Where it flowed? Yeah, where it flowed for me, right? Where I could just say, wow, that sounds amazing. Thank you for the invite. I think we're going to pass this time.
Yeah, if you have a go-to, I love that. Yeah, if you have a go-to, and also sometimes people need let me think about that. Let me think about that and get back to you. So we're going to pass this time, or let me think about that. Thank you so much for that offer. Let me think about that and get back to you. Don't say by tomorrow, but in an hour. Don't give yourself a time limit, especially if nobody's asking you for a time limit. You're just volunteering it. So if you say, you know what, we're going to pass right now, but thank you so much for the offer. Like, everybody knows somebody who has no problem saying no to stuff left and right. Like, try to channel that energy.
Could always say is that's just not in my emotional capacity.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I'm funny.
I love it. I think you're funny too. Okay. So let's move to the next part. So some of the tips that we wanted to share with you, and we'll go through these quickly, but I think that they will be really valuable and hopefully they'll be easy to remember. So the first one I'm going to talk about is morning, afternoon, and evening. So if every morning you have something that serves you, whether it's that walk, whether it's a quick meditation, whether it's journaling, a gratitude journal, something that you can do to take a moment for yourself and get centered for the day. Like, I can't even, like, if you do one thing different after this, wouldn't you say, Kristi, if you do one thing, if you take one thing from this whole hour, it's that take this 10 minutes in the morning doing something that serves you and centers you.
You're right. And this does not include going to the gym. Okay, going to the gym is for you, and that is for your body, and that is fantastic. This is for your emotional well-being. What can you do for yourself? Either listen to something, meditate, journal, or start a morning routine that includes all of those. But something that is just for you to get present so you can set an intention for the day.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the morning. I'm going to skip afternoon. I'm going to do that last. So in the evening, it's about preferably with your partner, especially if there's any sort of even remote conflict. I know none of you guys are having any conflict at home at all right now. Everything's smooth, but in case something happens, it can always be beneficial to state out loud with words in a genuine way what's working well, what you're appreciating, what you're valuing. Even if you're like, well, I would love 90% of this, but I'm getting 10. Put a spotlight on that 10% and genuinely express how much you appreciate it. That will speak volumes. And I bet you tomorrow that 10% will be 15 and then 20, especially if you can genuinely express your appreciation for it. So some sort of gratitude and verbal appreciation, even to your kids, everybody you can, the more the better at night. And then in the afternoon, I want you to take a few minutes out of your worrying about this and that and school and planning and work and meetings and ordering food. I want you to take a few minutes and get silly, get playful physically. So this means running around in the backyard with your pets, like rolling around on the ground, like having a dance party. It might feel so awkward and uncomfortable at first, but the benefits will be to your emotional health, your physical health. Your kids will think it's hilarious. They might think you're really weird at first, but I think that's good for kids to get a little bit embarrassed by you. I think that it promotes bonding with your kids as well. So like I was telling Kristi earlier today, I do this thing where we go lay on the trampoline and I'll act like a whiny kid and I'll like be like, stop, he's pushing me. And I'll like push them in slow motion. And they think it's hilarious, like hilarious for me to be acting like a bratty 6-year-old or something. So whatever works for you, getting silly. So getting centered and focused on the morning, even if it's 10 minutes, it's priceless. Other people in your house probably spend more than 10 minutes using the bathroom in the morning. You can certainly spend 10 minutes. We rush into the bathroom really quick. We take really quick showers. We rush out because everybody's waiting on us, right? Probably other people in your house don't do that. So I'm just saying, maybe take an extra 10 minutes in the afternoon, be really clear with your gratefuls and appreciations. And then, I'm sorry, in the evening, and then the afternoon, getting playful. Okay, Kristi, you want to take the next one?
Yes. Okay. So one of the hacks, I know we've kind of mentioned this, which is quiet time. So again, I have 4 kids and lots of screaming business partners demanding a lot of time, right? So for me, the best thing I do is I wake up in the morning, I find that quiet time in the morning, and I will just sit with myself for the 10 minutes, and then I'll do my other 10 minutes. But find quiet time to listen to yourself. Ask yourself a question, like, how am I feeling? And then listen to yourself to give you the answer. Check in with yourself. Be quiet with yourself and make it about you. If you don't have that 10 minutes before everybody wakes up, this is another one Amber and I talked about, do it in the shower. What that might feel like is what we just did earlier, is put your hand on your heart and just say, I'm here for you. I love you. You matter to me. I can show up for you today. And be kind to yourself and then listen. So a lot of us think that meditation has to be this big thing. If it's just a minute to just remind and feel yourself and connect with yourself and just be with yourself, find 10 minutes or find 5 minutes just to listen and be quiet. And I love your playful and silly. Silly is a word that I don't use all the time. Playful or lighthearted are words I use, but silly takes it to a whole new level.
The other thing that we wanted to talk about really briefly is how much, this is another hack, about how much do we spend with to-do lists, either writing them down or keeping them in our head, or both? This is what I used to do, have them all in my head and write them down. And the more things that you're juggling in your head, the more distracted you're going to be, the more difficult your concentration is going to be, the less present you're going to be, the more frustrated you're going to be, the more resentful. I mean, it goes on and on, right? I can make a list. So instead, what I would say is it's really, really useful. This can be really helpful. If you go ahead, write down everything that is running in your mind as your to-do list. Even if it's something that's like, oh, I got to pay the property taxes in 6 months. If it's in your head, get it out and write it down. And then what you're going to do is you're going to write 4 things next to it. Either delay. So man, if I don't have to worry about this until January, why in the heck is it floating around in my head right now? This is not serving me. So delay, delegate. Is there someone else that can do this like way easily? I just have to ask. I just have to assign it. Okay, who can I delegate this to? So delay, delegate, delete. Does this really even have to be done? Like, do we really need new socks right now? Nobody's wearing socks. It's summer. They're just gonna wear them outside and get holes in them anyway. Do I need to order new socks? No, delete that one. So delegate, delay, delete, and then do it. Okay, yeah, I really do need to get this done. Okay, does it need to get done today? Yeah, I could do it in a couple minutes. Boom. But it really, I found the amount of to-dos that we have that we're carrying with us all the time are a weight. It's such a heavy load. And by going through this process, which honestly often doesn't take much time really, all of a sudden, instead of carrying 750 pounds, you're carrying 35 pounds, and that you can carry. So I would really, really encourage you to do that. And I think that will then allow you that much more space and clarity to deal with, all the uncertainties that are going to come up next.
We have one more on the household duty hack.
Yeah.
So being a young mom 10 years ago, I thought my house had to be clean all the time, and I drove myself crazy. And so what I decided one night is to ask my husband, what's the 3 things that would feel good to you to have done every day? Because it's usually him and me that I really care about in the house. My kids, if you want it done, then do it. I'm not gonna do it for you. That's just the way that I feel. So he gave me his 3 things: clean underwear, make the bed, and no dirty dishes in the sink after dinner. That's it. I don't have to mop the floors every day. I don't have to clean all the windows. I don't have to clean your closet. I don't have to do all the other stuff. Those were things that didn't really even matter. And so I was just making myself crazy trying to do it every day. And then what was so great is he asked me, okay, well, what are your 3 things that I can help you with? Ding, yay, we get some participation. So be ready to have your 3 things ready as well. Or you could even start the conversation and say, okay, these are my top 3 things. These are your top 3 things. Okay, who's going to do what? Are you going to do yours, or am I going to do yours and you're going to do mine? Can we serve each other in this? Or, dirty dishes at night. If I'm super tired, I'm like, babe, dishes are yours tonight. I know that's your thing. It makes me feel really good to say that, by the way. So what are 3 things and what are his 3 things? Let the rest go until it gets on your schedule and it gets done a little bit more, not so much daily.
I love it. So I know a lot of you guys are probably like, I thought this was gonna be about school and remote learning. And we all just talked about self-awareness and, daily hacks of, how to, get through the day with your family more smoothly. To us, that's going to be the biggest piece of the puzzle moving forward. I do have specific hacks for schooling and resources, but they're so individualized depending on how old your kids are, what their needs are, what their personalities are, what your values are as a family, and what your school situation is, what the school is providing, if you're doing homeschooling or if you're doing a super structured, or if it's somewhere in between. So I just put a type form link here for Kristi and one for myself. The one for myself, it's just couple quick answers. I'm gonna put together a group, what do we call it? A group?
Group coaching.
Small group coaching, thank you, small group coaching, and also one-on-one sessions for people who want them. So there's information there, and then I'll hook up with you later if you want really concrete, specific, family-specific, academic planning help. And then Kristi, I'll let you describe what you are offering.
And then me is your emotional foundation, like really checking in with yourself, really understanding your emotional intelligence, helping to depict what emotions are active inside your vibe and what you're putting out to the world to help you get exactly back what you want. Really focusing on how you feel, how you want to feel, and what are some of those blocks in your belief systems that are keeping you from it. So again, it's all about you and giving you permission to feel through life and enjoy and thrive, not just only survive. So I would love to work with you if you're open to that. Again, you can go in, open up a little type form, and we'll find something that works best for you.
The other thing that we didn't realize, we both have almost the same like daily affirmation that we use with our families. And so we wanted to include it here, and I'm going to email you guys all the notes and worksheets after this. But for me, it's been like for a year, I change them up every year or two, but the last year has been, I'm so grateful that everyone I love is safe, healthy, happy, and together. And I just say that all the time to myself. And Kristi, yours is very similar.
Mine is, this is my decision-making hack, is my job as your mom is to keep you happy, healthy, and safe. So if you want to stay on your phone until 10 o'clock at night, I don't think that's healthy. Sleep is healthier, so we're gonna change your bedtime. Or I'm feeding broccoli to you because it's healthy and it's my job to keep you healthy. You eating candy for dinner is not gonna work because it's not healthy. So it really gives you 3 things to really put in each category and then start to talk through that with your child of how and why you're making the decision as their mother and caretaker.
So what do you do if they say like, but it doesn't make me happy? You said that was your job too.
Always have healthy and safe to go back on.
All right, perfect.
I am telling you, one of those will work. If they start saying, well, that doesn't make me happy, and I'm like, but it does make you healthy.
Yeah.
That's why we don't do that. It doesn't make you healthy.
And it makes me happy for y'all to go to bed earlier.
My kids will even come up and they'll say, okay, Mom, I think this one makes me healthy and it makes me safe. So this is a really good decision. And really them to kind of think through it as well. Mm-hmm. It will really, I have a lot of, like Amber and I have talked about doing other things around like social media and different phones, like how do we handle phones? And oh my gosh, I don't know about you guys, but that's making me crazy. Especially with our age kids being in that 11, 12, 13-year-old, even, I mean, I think we have most of us on the call, but like, how do we handle social media or phones in general? And what, I don't do social media, so for my kids don't get that, but like, how come? Well, it's because it's not healthy and I want to keep you safe. And P.S. you're not going to be happy. It's a really good one when you're trying to work through decisions for your family and for your kids, and then help them understand why and how you're thinking about it.
Do we want to open up to any questions? And that's all the content. I can't believe we souped it up there at the end. I thought for sure we were going to end up going over, but I really appreciate you all coming. If you need to hop off, go for it. I will send you the links. I will send you the type form links as well in case you can't get them here. And what else will we send? Is that everything?
I think that's everything, but I would I am willing to stay here for those of you that have some questions.
Yeah.
I feel like
we pause the recording so that we keep all of that private.